The system of imperial units, or the imperial system, is the system of units first defined in the British Weights and Measures Act of 1824, which was later refined and reduced. The system came into official use across the British Empire by the late 20th century. Most nations of the former empire had officially adopted the metric system as their main system of measurement. However, some imperial units are still used in the United Kingdom, Canada and other countries formerly part of the British Empire. The imperial system developed from what were first known as English units, as did the separate system of United States customary units. Implementation. The Weights and Measures Act of 1824 was initially scheduled to go into effect on 1 May 1825. However, the Weights and Measures Act of 1825 pushed back the date to 1 January 1826. The 1824 Act allowed the continued use of pre-imperial units provided that they were customary, widely known, and clearly marked with imperial equivalents. Apothecaries units. Apothecaries units are mentioned neither in the Act of 1824 nor 1825. At the time, apothecaries' weights and measures were regulated, in England, Wales, and Berwick-upon-Tweed, by the London College of Physicians, and in Ireland by the Dublin College of Physicians. In Scotland, apothecaries' units were unofficially regulated by the Edinburgh College of Physicians. The three colleges published, at infrequent intervals, pharmacopoeia, the London and Dublin editions having the force of law. Imperial apothecaries measures, based on the imperial pint of 20 fluid ounces, were introduced by the publication of the London Pharmacopoeia of 1836, the Edinburgh Pharmacopoeia of 1839, and the Dublin Pharmacopoeia of 1850. The Medical Act of 1858 transferred to the Crown the right to publish the official pharmacopoeia and to regulate apothecaries' weights and measures. Units. Length. Metric equivalents in this article usually assume the latest official definition. Before this date, the most precise measurement of the imperial standard yard was 0.9143984160000000.9143984160 meters. Area volume. In 1824, the various different gallons in use in the British Empire were replaced by the imperial gallon, a unit close in volume to the ale gallon. It was originally defined as the volume of 10 pounds of distilled water weighed in air with brass weights, with the barometer standing at 30 inches of mercury at a temperature of 62 degrees Fahrenheit. In 1963, the gallon was redefined as the volume of 10 pounds of distilled water of density 0.999988590000000000.998859 grams ml weighed in air of density 0.0012170000000000000.0012117 grams ml against weights of density 8.136 grams ml, which works out to 6997454609600000004.546096L or 699745460960174672027.4198 cu in. The Weights and Measures Act of 1985 switched to a gallon of exactly 69974546090000004.546009 British apothecaries volume measures. These measurements were in use from 1824, when the new imperial gallon was defined, but were officially abolished in the United Kingdom on 1 January 1971. In the USA, though no longer recommended, the apothecaries system is still used occasionally in medicine, especially in prescriptions for older medications. Mass and weight. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the UK used three different systems for mass and weight. Troy weight, used for precious metals. avoirdupois weight, used for most other purposes, and apothecaries weight, now virtually unused since the metric system is used for all scientific purposes. The troy pound was made the primary unit of mass by the 1824 Act, however, its use was abolished in the UK on 1 January 1879, with only the troy ounce and its decimal subdivisions retained. The Weights and Measures Act 1855 made the avoirdupois pound the primary unit of mass. In all the systems, the fundamental unit is the pound, and all other units are defined as fractions or multiples of it. Natural equivalents. Although the 1824 Act defined the yard and pound by reference to the prototype standards, it also defined the values of certain physical constants to make provision for recreation of the standards if they were to be damaged. For the yard, the length of a pendulum beating seconds or the latitude of Greenwich at mean sea level in vacuo was defined as 7001390139300000039.01393 inches. And, for the pound, the mass of a cubic inch of distilled water at an atmospheric pressure of 30 inches of mercury and a temperature of 62 degrees Fahrenheit was defined as 252.458 grains. However, following the destruction of the original prototypes in the 1834 Houses of Parliament fire, it proved impossible to recreate the standards from these definitions, and a new Weights and Measures Act was passed in 1855 which permitted the recreation of the prototypes from recognized secondary standards. Relation to other systems. The imperial system is one of many systems of English units. Although most of the units are defined in more than one system, some subsidiary units were used to a much greater extent, or for different purposes, in one area rather than the other. The distinctions between these systems are often not drawn precisely. One such distinction is that between these systems and older British, English units, systems or newer additions. The term imperial should not be applied to English units that were outlawed in the Weights and Measures Act 1824 or earlier, or which had fallen out of use by that time, nor to post-imperial inventions, such as the slug or poundal. The U.S. customary system is historically derived from the English units that were in use at the time of settlement. Because the United States was already independent at the time, these units were unaffected by the introduction of the imperial system.